Hello everyone, welcome to my channel again. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make a ribbed sweater for babies, and this is going to be for years of 3 to 4. So I'm using my 5mm hook size, the 1 ply yarn. I'm going to be doubling the strands. I'm going to use our stitch marker, our sewing needle, our tape measure, scissors, and let's get into the
So we're
tutorial.
working a ribbed pattern, and I've already made one side of my sweater. So this is what it looks like. This is what the rib stitch looks like. I'm going to be showing you how to make it. So I'm going to be working, instead of in rounds, we're going to be working from up to down like that. Make our neck parts and make the other shoulder. So sweater, we start with the chain 45, or let me say chain 44 plus 1 to turn. So we start with a half double crochet stitch, and that's what we're going to be using for this pattern. So we yarn over, go into the second chain from hook like that, yarn over, pull through, yarn over again, pull through all 3. So I'm going to do that for the next 43 stitches till we get to the end of the row.
So in the last stitch, and we have 45 stitches of half double crochet for our first row.
So for the next row, I'm going to chain 1, turn your work, go into that first stitch with your half double crochet. Then from the next stitch, we yarn over, go into, we have this and this, if you can see it on your project. We have, this is what the stitch looks like. This,
So we have the back loop and the front loop. So instead of going into the 2 loops like we did in the first stitch, we'll go into our back loop only. So that's the back loop. So we are going to do this, and we're going to repeat the same thing for the rest of the stitches till we get to our second to the last stitch on the row. So we're going to be working our half double crochet in our back loop only till we get to the second to the last stitch, because our last stitch is we are going to work into the 2 loops, not only 1 loop for the last stitch. So at the 2 edges, both the first stitch and the last stitch will work into the 2 loops, but for the stitches in the middle, we'll work into the back loop only with our with our half double crochet.
so now we are at the second to the last stitch, and we're going to our second to the last stitch the way we've been working. And then on the last stitch, instead of working our back loop only, we work both loops. And I'm doing this at both edges to give this straight look at the end.
So we'll chain one, yarn over, turn and walk, then we'll go into our first stitch with our half double crochets, the 2 loops, but on the next stitch we are going into the back loop only with our half double crochet, and we're going to work this till we get to the end of the row. But when we get to our last stitch, like I've said before, we're going to work into the 2 loops, not just 1 loop. So we're going to do the repeats of this row till we get to row 12. I have 3 rows now, so I'm going to be adding, I'm on my 3rd row, sorry, I'm going to be adding 9 more rows. So this is what we're doing, the same, we're repeating the same thing we've done in the previous row till we get to row 12. I'll show you what that looks like very soon.
So now for our 13th row, we are going to start making our neckline demarcation. So we're not going to make our complete 44 stitches. We're going to stop at our 39th stitch because I'm going to need an opening of 1, 2, 3, 4 stitches. So I'm going to stop at our 40th stitch rather. 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is what our neckline will be like, and I'm going to show you when I get to our 40th stitch so that you see what I'll do next. So to start the row, as usual, chain 1, turn and walk. First stitch, we walk with the 2 loops, but the next stitch we'll start working with our back loop only, and we'll do this till we get to our 40th stitch on the row.
So we're almost at our 40th stitch, and I'm counting 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to place my stitch marker on the 5th stitch from the end because that's where I want my neck opening to start from. So at the time I'll get to the stitch marker, I'll be on my 40th stitch. So I have 2 more left. I don't want to remove the stitch marker yet, so I'm just going to work my last stitch into where that my stitch marker is. So make sure you have 4 stitches left for the opening. And okay, this is what it looks like. So sorry, we have to work with our 2 loops because that's where, since we're ending our row there, so we're working with the 2 loops instead of 1 for the last part. So I've worked my half double crochets into the 2 loops, and this is what we have. So now we chain 1, and I'm just going to do a repeat of this for another 12 rows. So in the middle, that our neck opening.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So you can see it. That's the 13th row, and that's where we'll end our neckline. So for the 14th row, I'm going to show you what you do to come back to this number of stitches we started with. So we've done our first row, so I'm going to work 13 more rows and I'll meet you back. So we've done 13 rows, and from our stitch marker, if you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So on this row, we're going to do extra, just like we have the opening here. So we're going to do extra 5 chains to extend the row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 stitches. One last chain, that's the 5th chain to turn. So now we turn our work and we start the other side. So we make this exact thing here on this side to extend it for the shoulder. So
So now we're working our half double crochets into the chains, and we're starting from second chain from hook. So I've done the first half double crochet, so I'm going to make 3 more because we are supposed to have 4 half double crochets in our chain 4 that we did. So that's the second one, and making the third one, and then the fourth half double crochet. So now I've made 4 stitches of half double crochets, just like we have the 4 half double crochets on the other side. So now I'm going to continue with my half double crochets, but in the back loop only, till we get to the end of the row, and I'm going to make a repeat of this row for the next 11 rows. So we have a few stitches left. That's the 4 half double crochet left for the row. So I'm just showing you what it looks like on the second row before we make a repeat till the 12th row. So don't forget to walk into the 2 loops for your last stitch, just like that. Then chain 1, turn your work, walk into the 2 loops for the first stitch, then keep walking back loop only till you get to the last stitch and walk into the 2 loops for the last stitch. So I'll meet you back at the 12th row and I'll show you what it looks like.
we've made our 2 panels, front and back. So what we're going to do next is we're going to join them on the shoulders and a little part of the side so that we can leave our armhole. So have in mind that this pattern stretches a lot and it's going to give room whenever someone wears it. And this is for a baby, you want it to have enough room. So So this is what we have, very seamless and neat like that. So I'm going to join the second part of camera and I'll show you what we have.
So I prefer to join my panels on the sides with my hook and yarn instead of seaming needle, because I want it to also have this ribbed look. So I'm going to be joining with a single crochet, one stitch from one side, another stitch from the other side. And I'm going to also show you how to make your armhole, because when we join to a point now, we're going to have to stop, then measure for our armhole for the baby.
I use 4 inches for the armhole, and 4 inches might be, let's count the stitches. So as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So that's 15 on, count 15 stitches here, then 15 stitches on the other side, then you slip stitch, so that when you join, you stop at your slip stitch and you have your armhole open. So we'll put our stitch marker on the 16th stitch, then count on this side too. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So we put our stitch marker on the 16th stitch and we join, keep joining, stitch in, stitch out like that with our single crochets.
So this is what we have after joining, and we are going to do the same thing on the other side. I'm going to count 15 stitches on both panels and then join from the down parts to the 16th stitch where we'll put our stitch marker, just like we've done on the first side too. So I'm going to do that. Make sure you do that too, and I'll meet you back when you are done.
So we've joined both sides and this is what I have. So I'm going to turn this to the other side and so that this place can hide. So I'm going to be working on the neck band, and I prefer to attach my yarn at that shoulder point. So I'm showing you that. So I've attached my yarn and I've chained one. So I'm making extra 3 chains to make it 4 chains. So I don't want my neck band to be too long, and I want something, it's for a baby, so I just want it to stay. But if you want to make like a very long neck that you can turn or something, you can make longer chains. But for me, I'm okay with this 4. So I'm making extra one. I've made extra 1 chain. Rather, that's the extra 1 chain to turn. So I'm going to go into a second chain from hook with single crochets. So I'm going to make 4 single crochets in our 4 chains. So this is the second one. Then I'm making the third single crochet, and then the 4th single crochet. So please pay attention to this next part. You are going to work your next stitches into that extended part of your panel. That's the 4 half double crochet that we did before you now get into that neckline itself. So we're going into the next stitch with a slip stitch, just like this, making a slip stitch. That's 1 slip stitch. Then we'll go into the next stitch again with another slip stitch. So now we have 4 single crochets and 2 slip stitches. So we chain 1, we turn our work, then we ignore the 2 slip stitches. We are not going to work anything into it. You're just going into your single crochet row, but back loop only with single crochets. So that's 1 single crochet, back loop only, second one into the back loop only, third one into the back loop only, and then the 4th single crochet into the back loop only. So this is what we are going to keep repeating till you walk all the way through your neckline and meet at the place you started. So I've chained 1, I've turned, I'm making a single crochet into the 4th single crochet, the second one, and then the third one, and the 4th and last one. So I'm making a slip stitch into the next stitch available, and by now you should have gotten to the normal neckline, so you make it your next slip stitch. So now we have our row of single crochets, 2 slip stitches, then we've chained 1, we've turned our work, and of course ignore the slip stitches, go into your single crochet row with single crochets and work all the way to your last single crochet stitch into the back loop only. Chain 1, turn your work, and make a repeat of these rows till you've worked all the way through the neckline, the shoulder, the back neckline, and back to the shoulder where you started from. So we're just going to make a repeat of this, and I'm going to meet you at the end. So at the last part, and so far this is what the neck looks like. So and I hope yours also looks like this, and if you are making it longer, I hope you still have something that looks like this. So turn, single crochet, 1, 2, 3, 4. So just try and find the last few stitches and work your way into it. So now I'm going to just join the two sides, and I'm just going to go in slip stitches. And the last chain one and cut your yarn, so yarn off. So this is all we have. This is all we have, and I'm going to weave in this loose end. So it's going to pass through your baby's head down to the neck, definitely. And so I'm going to work this same band on the down part of our sweater all the way around, and I'm just going to show you a bit of how I'm going to start.
So I'm attaching my yarn, and I'm going to make a chain of 6. If you want it longer, it's totally fine, but I'm making a chain of 6, and that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. So I'm going to make the exact same thing we did at the neck, and that's just how you make a band normally. So I'm going to make extra 1 chain so that I can use that to turn. So I'm going into our second chain from hook with our single crochet stitch, and I'm going to work that till we get to the end of the chain 6 that we did. Then, just like we did at the neck area, we're going to slip stitch into our next 2 stitches. So just like I'm going to show you now, I'm slip stitching into that stitch, and I'm going to slip stitch into the next stitch. So make sure you're checking the line by line, make sure they are falling into each row from your panels. So I'm working my single crochets back up after, of course, ignoring the 2 slip stitches that we did. So I'm going to do this repeat round the down part of the sweater and that's going to be our band, the waistband of our sweater. So we're just going to repeat this, and I'll meet you at the end of the row. So this is what it looks like, and we're working all the way around. That's our sweater waistband, and I'll meet you at this last part.
So I'm at the end of the row, and I'm chaining 1. So I'm joining the 2 sides together with slip stitches. 1, 2, 3, 5, and this is the last stitch. So just find your way into 6 like that. So chain 1, cut your yarn off. So that is what we have. So what we have to do left is the sleeves.
So I've made a chain rope of 35 chains, and I'm including the band of our sleeve with the sleeve, unlike making our projects and then adding the band to it like I did for the body of the sweater. For this sleeve, I'm adding both the band and the sleeve at once, so we have to pay attention. I've chained extra 1 to turn, and for this I'm going to make 5 single crochets. So that's the first one, then that's the second single crochet, the third single crochet, the fourth single crochet, and then the 5th single crochet. So I'm going to use my stitch marker to mark the top of that 5th single crochet, because when you start working back you might miss it, because we are going to work the rest of our stitches with half double crochet. So the first 5 stitches should be single crochet, so that's 5 single crochets and then 30 half double crochet stitches for the rest of the sleeve. So I've prepared for half double crochet. I'm going into my chain with half double crochet stitch, and I'm doing that all the way to the end of the first row that I'm working on now. So now I'm at the last stitch and I've done my last half double crochet. So this is what it looks like, and now I've chained 1, turn your work and go into your first stitch with half double crochet, the both loops. We are not working for one loop in the first stitch, we are working the both loops. So the next stitch we are working back loop only, just like we did for the body part of the sweater. So we're working all the way till you get to your stitch marker. When you get to your stitch marker, you continue with single crochet back loop only for the last 5 stitches. So we are at the stitch marker now, and from here we are going to make single crochet back loop only for the next 5 stitches. Don't forget to put your stitch marker back. And 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is what we have. This place is smaller and this place is wide. So this is going to be the repeat row, and I'm going to do this for our arm opening. 15 stitches here, 15 stitches here, so that's 30. I'm going to do it for the next 28 rows because we have 2 rows already. So just repeat that for 28 rows and I'll come back. So I'm on my 30th row. I've done 29 rows like this in total. So I'm on the 30th row, and I'm just going to show you this last row in case you've been doing something different, so that you can loosen it immediately. So you chain one, you turn your work, do a half double crochet in the first stitch, then from the second stitch you start making half double crochet into back loop only. Till you get to your stitch marker. So now we've gotten to our stitch marker, and we are going to end the row with single crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We chain one, and then we cut our yarn and yarn off. So for the sleeve, this is what we have. I really like this stitch because it stretches. I like this ribbed look. This is what we have. So I'm going to make 2 of this. I'll make the second one because we are going to attach it to our sweater. I'm going to show you how to do that after I make the second sleeve. I'll be back. So I've made the 2 sleeves, and I'm going to attach them to our armhole. I've also cut out a little yarn because I'm going to be using my seaming needle to sew it together instead of working with my yarn and hook. So I'm just going to put 1 strand of yarn into my seaming needle and prepare to seam through the arm and the sleeves and the armhole. So just you don't need to flip your work in your the body of your sweater in and out. You just need to place your sleeve at the armhole, and that's just, I counted 15 rows to be able to demarcate. So I'm attaching that stitch marker on my 15 rows to the armpit side of my armhole. So I'm going to just seam. I'm going to start seaming from the beginning of our shoulder parts, and I'm going to seam it down to where the stitch marker is and seam the other side of the sleeves to the armhole. So and while seaming it, I'm also going to weave in my loose ends. If you can do that, do that. If you can't, you can, when you are done with your projects, you can make sure you weave in all your loose ends. Don't leave anyone out. So but I'm going to weave in as I seam my sleeves to the armhole. So this is it's very easy for me. It's because of the kind of pattern we are working with, the ribbed look. I prefer to use the seaming needle to sew my work together like I've done, except for the side. That one, it doesn't really matter. But for areas like this where it might show, I prefer to use this method. So but if you are working with other patterns, then you can use any other method you prefer. So I'm just going to seam through it. I'm going to do this for the 2 armholes. So I'm going to attach both sleeves to the 2 armholes. So I'm going to meet you when we are done, and I'm going to show you what we have. So I'm done attaching my sleeves to the armhole, and this is what it looks like. So this is also what the front looks like. So when you are done, this is what it should look like, neat, and the part where you sew, where you have sewn, will be hidden inside. So but the other side will look very neat and seamless. So I'm going to also I'm going to also seam from the armpit down to the wrist. So this opening now, I'm just going to work my way down to the sleeves. This is me sewing it down to the sleeves the same way we've sewn every other part where we sewed. So I'm just working it down, and that's my last stitch. And when I'm done securing that, I'm going to cut my yarn and yarn off. So when I'm done with this, I'll show you what it looks like, because I've attached my 2 sleeves. So I'm just securing my ends, and I'm going to weave in loose ends and make sure everything is neat and nice. So make sure you subscribe to my channel, like, comment, share, and follow me on Instagram also. So this is just me trying to weave in my loose ends, and I'll show you what the final look is. So this is what our final look is. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to tell me what you think, and when you make your sweater, please don't forget to tag me. Thank you, and bye.